This is the members meeting for members. Thank you for being a member on our YouTube channel. This is episode 22, question and answer. So we're going in the chicken business.
Yeah.
Which part of the chicken? Can you name the parts of chicken business?
What do you mean? Like the freeze-dried part?
Well, you could have freeze-dried chicken. You could provide chicken meat.
You could provide live animals. You could provide eggs. You could provide
eggs,
meat.
Feathers,
carcasses for bone broth. I mean, it could all be dog food. I mean, what are we talking about?
I think we should go in the, we should sell chicken feathers.
Okay.
Chicken feather pillows. How come you've never heard of chicken feather pillows?
I don't think they're as soft as goose down.
I was going to say, is down the same thing as feathers? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Even the down still pokes you sometimes.
Yeah, it's still feathers. It's just the
undercoat.
Down is the feathers that are under like the main feathers.
Well, all these hardcore preppers that are going to run out and just live in the woods. I mean, 150, 200 years ago, they were stuffing burlap sacks full of straw.
Yeah, that's what their
mice
beds were
lived
made
in their
of.
beds and shit. So this will be a good warm up for them. We'll see how this goes forward.
If I was to go into the chicken business, I'd take a book out of the John Willis business book and sell high-end, free-range chickens for like $20 or $30 a piece, or however
designer
much,
chickens,
double the price of however much a normal chicken.
1 year
costs.
chickens, like already laying eggs.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I haven't actually done the math on it, but I see all these people local in the local groups selling a dozen chicken eggs for $2. The fucking grocery store is charging $7. Brent,
the grocery store I saw today on Hip Camden, Tennessee, $23 for 5 dozen eggs.
Yeah,
and somebody they're like losing their shit, and they're like, I need one of you to sell me your eggs for $2 a dozen, and I need 6 dozen a week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, our feed bill doubled.
That's what somebody else said. They were like, everything is more expensive, including the food that they're giving those chickens.
the fuel to move it costs more. The feed everything fucking costs more. And just wait, they are in for a fucking shock next year.
A rude awakening.
Well, I just got a shock because I used to grocery shop during the day when Annie was at work. And we get this bag of 50 sausages. That's what we give the girls for breakfast, just, whatever sausages. They used to be $1.99. She told me yesterday she paid $7.99 for the same bag.
Yep.
That's outrageous, you know?
Yeah. All right, so Derek Olson, what do you think has happened with all the people who didn't pay their rent during the pandemic? You mentioned this man, I don't know. That's a good question, because why don't we know that, right? Where is that information? Where are all of those people? What did happen to them? I don't know the answer to it. Where are all the people that are dying from during this thing, right? That are dying now. Like, we see them all over Instagram. This football player, this soccer player, this high school player, this soccer player age 10 died, right? All of they even have a term for it. Adult sudden death syndrome.
Sudden adult death syndrome.
So what's the real number, right? You're seeing posts of people that are presumed to be celebrities, and you're seeing random people speaking about family members. Where is that cumulative research at? Where's that data at that shows how many people? Because I saw somebody saying, the number of people in the United States is declining. We're on a decline. The world population is actually on a decline, but they keep pushing this, we need to lower the rate of people, and we need to eat less meat and stuff. And there's a lot of speculation. That's why they are letting all these people in across the border. Because number one, it dilutes the heritage in the United States. It dilutes the body of people in the United States. If you look at France, that's what happened in France. The wreck that has happened the last several years in France that's come to a head, it's because they brought all those different cultures in and they just mash up. But a lot of people are saying that they're letting all those people across the border because they are going to need workers. And a lot of the people in the United States, a lot of those jobs that they had, those are just going away. Like, you don't have a full-time guy on staff that, cleans your toilets and shit. Somebody else does that job now. And a lot of those bureaucratic jobs. It's been busted out that a lot of these people have these jobs making $100,000 a year, and they show up to work an 8-hour day, and they actually work 30 minutes out of the day, like the Twitter thing, right? That was just so in your face, and it went viral. But there's tons of other places that are doing that same shit. You know, you go and you get a 30-minute yoga class and a 30-minute massage, and they have a yogurt bar. They have all this shit. Awesome. But we don't need to have those buildings. If you look at, they said New York, like over 65% of the commercial real estate in New York is actually empty now. People have moved out of those buildings. They've realized what a fucking wreck it is. And when you subsidize the low income, like you're seeing right now in St. Louis, they're doing this universal basic income program in St. Louis. They had 500,000 people apply for this program, and they're only giving out 9,000 slots to test it out, right? So they filled up their 9,000, and they said that over 65% of the people that are, and it's $500 a month universal basic income, 65% of the people that are getting this universal basic income are also on Section 8. They're on food stamps. They have all these other government assistance programs.
Benefits.
So they make more than, you know, a kid coming up or a young person who is actually working, you know, a job and a part-time job, and they're not paying the taxes that the people who are actually working the real jobs are paying in taxes. Why would they go get a job? And why would they vote any other way than for those? But the problem is if you saw Andy Frisella's video this morning or yesterday, I don't know. I was listening to it while I was in the shower right before I did this. And his point was, if we just took the money from the taxes and put it in to make things better in the community, you would have people with more money move into the community. The problem is that the politicians have figured out ways to steal this. They just had 4 aldermen there plead guilty and going to prison for stealing graft, you know, for taking money out of these programs and stuff. And but they don't want people with more money to move into the community. Like, if you fix the community, it will attract a higher caliber person. The problem for them is when you attract a higher caliber person, those people run businesses and know how to manage things and run businesses, and they're going to call you on your program. Where is the money? They're going to be able to identify the graft and the theft. So they don't want that. So they just keep doing these programs and getting this federal money backing them and driving the caliber of people down because they can control that population, right? They live in gated communities. They live in gated neighborhoods. They don't have riots in their neighborhoods. The riots are in the other neighborhoods. So when you dilute that population and you reward that type of life, they're easy to manipulate, and they will vote, keep those people in. Basically, if you brought in higher caliber people and more money, those people can't stay in office. And that therein lies the problem. And that's everything. So where are all these people at, Derek? I don't know, man. I don't.
What I was going to say was, I think they just learned how to work the system. You can go to like storefronts that are businesses teaching you how to do that. You can look it on YouTube. That's where the system is actually broken because it's like alluring to people.
The system has classes on how to play the fucking system.
That's what I'm saying. So they get in and then they can't get out because I've actually heard this and it's astonishing to actually hear somebody actually say this. I can't get a job because I'll lose my benefits.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't even understand that concept.
That goes back to caliber of person, right?
Mm-hmm,
Because what are your benefits? What are you making? $1,600 a month, all cumulative, all together, right? Where they're looking at, if I go get a Burger King job, I'm only going to make $800 a month. Why would I go work and make half what I'm getting for free from the state programs? Because they're not looking at build a skill, build a business, develop something, make more money. They're not
build on something. You can't build on the government giving you something.
Yeah, because we have for the last, I don't know what in the fuck has happened with this cord. It was perfect. Because those are kid jobs. Those are entry level jobs. Those are not jobs for adults. And we have taken that and we've told adults that it's okay to be a barista or do whatever it is you fucking do.
Well, that's why it's the minimum wage is such an issue because it's not supposed to be something that you can live on. It's supposed to be the job that you have while you're living with your parents
Correct.
and you learn how to work.
Yeah.
So now we have to pay people $20 an hour to be a barista because that's what they want to do.
Because that's a living wage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you want 3 part-time jobs making $7.50 an hour where you have to work 60, 80 hours a week? Or do you want one job making $20 an hour? Mm-hmm. Just be fucking more skilled.
Yeah, and you get more skilled by having those shitty jobs.
Right.
And that's just it. I
Absolutely.
mean, we have a kid working here, and I was talking to her dad, and she's very part-time, and he'd said something, and I said, man, your daughter's only working here because of your and my relationship. She doesn't want to be here. I go, really? Your daughter needs to go and work fast food for 6 months and see what the fucking real world is like because she has been
Suffer for a
coddled.
little while.
And I said, if she walked in here and said, hey, I'm going to quit and go do something else, I would be fucking completely relieved. Now, he went home and they had a conversation and things have definitely changed. There's a noticeable, she is,
Huge shift.
huge shift. But the kid has no concept of what the fucking real world is. None at all. None at all. She never had to, and I don't know what happens at home, but in here, when I walk through my building, if I see somebody that's looking at me, they're not doing their job. If I walk through my building and 2 people from both sides are talking, the machines aren't running. And that's the thing, right? You guys, hey, do you have her phone number? No. Why not? Well, why? We don't hang out. Well, then why the fuck are these sewing machines stopped? And why every single time it's the same people?
Yeah, why are you conversating while you're on the clock?
And I don't care that they conversate. It's just that those are also the same people that have everything fucked up.
Yeah, usually when people tend to waste a lot of time, they don't make it up.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, I could see how, like, if these guys, if whoever was wasting time stayed until 6 or 7 to get the job done, you guys wouldn't care about it.
These are always the same people. They're the last ones in the door, and the first one's out the door. The fastest thing they do every day is quit.
Here.
I actually just had this conversation with Annie 2 days ago because we have to go to like a restaurant supply store to get our drinks. That's the seltzer waters, you know, and you can't find them at grocery stores. So, anyways, we go there.
Go to GSF in Clarksville.
That's where we go. And I get about $100 worth, and it's usually like 15, 20 cases, something like that. Like I don't really add it up, but I just fill up the cart, and it's usually about $100. And they're all the same brand, and they're all 12 packs. And whenever an older person helps me, they'll scan one and count them.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was 2 nights ago. It was like not super late. It was like 8 o'clock at night. And this girl she had to have been high school. She couldn't have been any older than that. Took them one out at a time and then put it into a new cart and then scanned each one.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's just running out the clock. Like she has no desire to work. She's just trying to make a simple task take a super long time.
Yep.
And the other possibility is that she's just dumb.
Yeah. Well,
Like nobody told her.
Yeah.
Right? I will say with GSF,
GFS.
when we go in there, I'm always surprised how few staff they have.
Yeah.
But we get right the fuck out. There's never,
Yeah.
but then again, also there's only ever 10, 15 customers in the entire store. So I guess it's on par.
Well, I don't like. It seems like they're kind of high priced. Like for the drinks, it's the same everywhere, but like their meat and stuff like that, it is in bulk, but per pound it seems pretty high priced. Yeah. So
everything we've bought there, because we're buying dry goods.
Yeah.
We buy name brand pasta. I don't remember what the brand is. Like Costco and Sam's Club both have this brand, and then they have their own brand.
Yeah.
And the pasta we buy is
Berea.
considerably less cost at GSF, and they have it in bigger bulk, which is what I like.
Yeah, that's what we go there.
Same with rice, clamato olives, those bright green olives. They have those. There's several things we buy there. I go in there with the intention of spending thousands of dollars always, and they don't have a lot of what I want, but what they do have, I do get in bulk. Yeah. But I mean, we're at the point, like we're looking at I have friends that are managers of Walmarts and stuff now, and I'm like, hey, I want to buy this thing, but I don't want individual bags. I want to buy them in the boxes before you guys cut the box, because I want to just stack them.
Yeah.
Just stack them up, right? And he's like, there's not really a way to do that. Now, being friends with the manager, he can just get what I need and set it aside and sell it to us there's no discount, and I'm not looking for the discount. I want it in the fucking package. And really, if I could just buy it by the pallet, I would just I just bought literally a fucking lifetime. I will never buy cinnamon in my life again. And Ethan is what got me on this. Ethan's like, I have 365 pairs of socks. I'm like, why do you have 365 pairs of socks, right? But as he proceeded to tell me, he's like, if I because I only wear one of these pairs of socks one day a year, right? Now I change my socks 3 times a year, so I'd get through
3 times a day.
3 times a day, yeah. I would get through his program, and for a third of the year, right? Yeah. He's like, but I'm never going to wear those socks out. I'm only going to wear each of those pairs of socks is going to be worn once a year. Like, how many times do you wear? Like, I can get a bag of socks that's like 10 pairs of socks, and they could have lasted me a year, right? Yeah. So I like that program. So I've been putting cinnamon sugar in my coffee. I used to just put cinnamon in there, and then I didn't have cinnamon sitting on the counter one day, put cinnamon sugar. I'm like, oh, this is way better.
Yeah,
way better.
So we go to Walmart. I'm like, hey, let's go to Walmart tonight. She's like, what are we getting? Because it's just to get out of the building, right? Yeah. We've been in the building all day. We're gonna just go to Walmart, right? So we go to Walmart to buy cinnamon sugar, and I bought, I don't know, maybe 30 containers of it, but they're small, right? So they don't even fill a bin up.
Like this big.
So the next day, I'm like, let's go to Sam's Club. What are we getting? I'm like, I'm going to buy all the cinnamon they have. And I did. I bought all of their cinnamon. But they didn't, it's not impressive. Like, it doesn't, I could put it all on this table. It doesn't cover the table. But I do now own enough cinnamon to never buy cinnamon again another day in my life.
But if you take into consideration, like, the typical container that people are going to buy from the grocery store,
it's like $5 or something.
The container that you bought times
which
30.
is 10, yeah. And this one has no sugar in it, right? If you were going to make your own cinnamon sugar,
you'd double it.
No, it's way more than double. I'll bet it's 100-fold, like, because the cinnamon in there is so fine. Yeah, but if I could have walked in there and been like, hey, I want a pallet of your cinnamon, I would have totally bought it.
Well, that's what you were talking
We'd put it in the corner here.
Yeah.
Every time somebody came, I'm like, you want to see what I just got? I did that yesterday to Brandel and John and a couple of I'm like, you're never going to believe what I got. And I take them upstairs, and they're thinking something cool. I'm like, look at all this cinnamon. They're like, why do you have? I go, because we're never gonna buy it again in our lifetimes.
Well, convenience translates to making money, because you could do something else. So when you're talking about you're not looking for a discount, the same thing with me for the LaCroix. Like, it's a hassle to get them. Yeah. So I found a place that I can buy a pallet of them. It's like $4,500, but that'll be like a year's worth. Yeah.
So watch that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. In the end of the world, you're no longer going to have any sodas in cans. Yeah. And I know that's not a soda, but the cans, the aluminum can, you can dip it in chemicals that'll eat aluminum away. Mm-hmm. And what's left is like the inner liner of an eggshell, right? It's plastic that's in there. We buy, I don't know, it used to be $1,000, but we only buy a few $100 worth of sodas when we have an event or anything now. Mm-hmm. So they never got drunk, ever. Yeah. So we would just put them in the back. We have wire racking full of fucking sodas. Well, one day you go back there and you're like, what the fuck is all over this floor? Because one will eat it eats itself out. Yeah. Diet Pepsi, the diet ones are the worst. They literally won't stay in the can over 18 months in the back room with no sunlight, no light even.
Temperature
stable, and they fucking eat, and Monster Energies eat their fucking way right out of those cans. So anybody thinking like, we used to just stick them in the back, I'm like, I don't care if they're stale. It's not me drinking them. I'll trade them with somebody in the future. No, you're going to go back there 5 years from now and not a fucking one of those things. And there's old Coca-Cola cans, like old cans 40, 50, 60 years ago, that are still in the cans. So it's either how they're manufacturing the can now or well, we know the contents has changed drastically over the years of the soda, but it won't. Just imagine if you take Coca-Cola and you just put a little pinhole prick in it and you drip it a drop every hour on concrete, it'll eat hole through concrete.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There's like
It'll eat a hole through glass.
Yeah, that'll talk about like you could clean with Coke. Like if
Oh yeah.
something's
So
rusted or
the
something
best
like
way
that.
to clean the
Leads on your battery.
the terminal on your battery is
Yeah.
to pour fucking Coke on it.
Or any
Yeah.
soda.
It literally just eats it away.
And that's way tougher than the lining of your stomach.
Yeah.
You know.
Or the enamel on your teeth.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, well, Derek, you got a lot of answers,
Totally
none of which
off
you
topic.
asked. Stephen Peoples, was there a singular moment or event that made you realize you need to leave California and become self-reliant, or was it a culmination of things? So, we've always been self-reliant to some
Degree.
right? I was always, before prepper fiction, it was Nostradamus and movies. There was a movie, I don't even remember the movie. I have it on VHS tape. And it was just about all the electricity went out and the things that ensued and how they escaped to the cabin. And this kid was on a bicycle, and the neighbors hated guns, but they went to the pharmacy to get some medication that his wife needed. And the pharmacy was being robbed, and he didn't have a gun, and they were in a movie theater, and some black folks and some white folks came together, and the white folks hated guns, and the black guy was the voice of reason. That was really the only prepper movie out that was on my radar. I was recording movies. We were renting movies and recording them tape to tape, so that during the end of the world, and this is when I was probably 15. Mom even was recording movies. My aunt was, but I was recording movies because I was just going to be in the woods in Montana in my cabin when the world ended, and I was just going to have a lot of movies to watch, right? Because I saw it in something, right?
Movies to watch when the world ends.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be so far away, we're not going to see any people. It doesn't matter. But when I especially, like I always said, I need to get out of California, right? We always saw the earthquake movies, right? And then you start seeing like The Day After and The Day After Tomorrow, the zombie movies, and not really prepper, but it's kind of that genre, right? You could see that would apply if you're prepped. You would also kind of probably be ready for that more than other people. But really, it was when I came home from prison. Came home, and I was always saying I need to get out of California, right? And I had heard it. I had Jack Spirko. Not really in my ears. I wasn't listening to it podcast. I was listening off the laptop, and we were playing it in the garage while we were sewing. And I had several employees that were coming. I had a lady that came in from Mexico, worked for us. I had a lady named Elka that was German, like straight out of fucking Germany. Drove a 700 series BMW, like
very German,
like German. And she worked for us. So we were in there, and I was just playing History Channel stuff all the time and playing Jack Spirko. And Jack's like, you need to get out of the city. You need to get the fuck out of the city. You need to get out of the city. And this was right maybe 2008. That's when I came home in 2003. No, I came home in 2003, halfway, June 25. Yeah, you're right, 2005. So I had 3 years of probation. So it was right around 2008, right? Didn't we have some collapse or crash or something happen?
The economy
housing
collapsed.
And Spirko's like, get your money out of the stock market, get your money. And Jack's always been right. Like 99%. And if you think you caught Jack, hey, he was wrong here, just give it 6 months.
Yeah, just wait.
It'll fucking, so like that was in my ear, right? I watched him grow the business. He was saying things. Andy Frisella wasn't on my radar. So a lot of my influence, even now, whether I realize it or give credit to it, is Jack. And it blows my mind all the time when I get a message from Jack and when I can communicate with him and Nicole. Like Nicole was kind of my gateway, even though I had access to Jack. She was on the show, right? So her and I communicated a lot more, but Jack and I talk all the time now. And it just blows my mind when he comes here and I'm like, I listen to this dude every day of the year. My kids, my wife, like Jack said this, Jack said that, right? And even it just becomes who you are, right? You put those things into action. But I always gave Jack credit for it, right? Even years later. So that was a big piece of it. And then a few days before I was off probation, we were picking some, and it's always prepper stuff, man. We were going and buying chem lights, garden seeds. I got had my first chainsaw. Maybe you gave me it for my
Yes,
birthday.
of course I gave it to you.
It was a Rancher 455 Husqvarna. And we're in like it's an older community. Those houses there are probably $1.5 million now. Right?
Yeah.
So we didn't have real CC&Rs, but we had an old lady that would drive around and call the police about my trailer and shit. It's just a planned community. There's a school at the end of the street. I went to school there. All of our kids went to school there. I had Miss Hume for 4th grade. My oldest son, Tyler, had Miss Hume. Cody had Miss Hume. Like, she was still there 30 years later, right? And
she's a lifer.
we were cutting wood and just stacking it in the front yard. Like, it wasn't just fun. We were going literally down to the canyon and cutting up eucalyptus that had fallen down, throw it in a truck. We'd haul it up a cliff, throw it in a truck, bring it back. And we were just splitting firewood, right? It was a fucking hell of a workout. The kids are splitting firewood. We had a border around the front yard. We had tomato plants. We went to the dump and got a bunch of compost and mulch and stuff. And the police come over. Somebody said we were growing weed. It was I'm like, it's.
They gave us a fucking ticket for growing tomatoes.
It was tomatoes. So that wasn't. I wasn't even like. We talk about that now, but I don't remember even being pissed about it.
Yeah.
I was pissed about it. I'm still pissed about
But I was we were in the garden center in Walmart there in Kearney Mesa, and I was talking to James on the phone, probably one of the last times I ever even spoke on the phone. And I'm like, he's like, what's up? And I'm like, I need to get out of California, man. He's like, come to Tennessee. I go, I don't think I won't come to Tennessee. He's like, you won't fucking come to Tennessee. I go, how would I do business there? Do you guys, what do you like, talk on CBs? And he's like, fuck you, man. I go, do you got a Starbucks? He's like, no. I go, do you got a Books A Million, Barnes & Noble? And I don't know why those were the things I asked about, right?
Well,
and he's like,
I know why.
I'm like, do you guys have UPS? He's like, yes, asshole. Of course we have UPS. We flew out there. Like, I was off probation a couple of days later. We literally got tickets, flew out there. Came out, stayed in the team room, drove around for 3 days looking for a house to rent. And while I was out there, my bank account, we flew out, had a few $1,000s in the bank account, like operating, right? And my bank account zeroed out and my bank account got locked. So after sitting on the phone for hours with Wells Fargo, transfer, I finally get somebody and he's like, you have a child support judgment against you. And they literally emptied so we're in Tennessee with no fucking money at all. And I didn't even know I had a judgment for child support or anything at the time. And they zeroed my bank account out. So we come back here. I don't remember what we did, but I mean, we raised some funds. Hey, we're going to take orders on these things or whatever. We rented a house, and then 30 days later, we moved out here. And we moved out here, hit the ground, and we by chance happened by Tracy Hightower's house, and there was a lady across. I mean, I'm like, man, we need a place to live. We were with James. And he's like, let me see. There's a garage sale across. He's like, she doesn't live there. Let me see if she wants to rent the house out. And she immediately was like $800. We were paying fucking $2,500 for an apartment.
Yeah.
And this is a big house. It's like, I don't know, 2,000 square feet. And then when we go inside, there's a basement underneath it that's 2,000 square
2
feet,
acres,
2.5
backyard.
garage. So we moved in, and it was called Cedar Lake Estates. And it was like it was meant to be, right? Jack's like, get out of Tennessee. James is like, or Jack's like, get out of California. James is like, come to Tennessee. We come in here and we look, and it's literally just like, it is exactly like I pictured
299 days.
Lights Out.
Oh,
or
Lights
the
Out.
Cedars. Yeah, 299, but Lights Out, David Crawford, right? And then later, befriending and becoming friends with David, and David coming out and training and stuff. I'm on the back of 299 Days on the back of his book, as is James. But it was literally like, it was like God said, move to Tennessee. This is what you will do, right? It's like listening to, because I very much relate. I listened to Glenn Tate's book, 299 Days, and that outside voice. I mean, everybody, who do you think that is? That's fucking God, right? That's what he wants you to think, is that's God talking to him. So I feel like we were supposed to be here. And that's like when people are like, where would you move if you weren't in Tennessee? James was my anchor here. We kind of are adrift right now. But I also feel like I am supposed to be here. This is the place to be. And there's a lot of talk right now about setting up business someplace else and doing other things. And I think that you're going to see we're going to do that, but I don't think we're leaving here. I don't have intentions of leaving here. I think we're going to set up another business. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to this.
There's something about Tennessee, though, because I have the same feeling. I grew up in California, lived all over California, went to school up in Northern California, spent most of my time in the Bay Area, worked in Los Angeles. Like, nothing felt like home the way Tennessee does, and I've only been here for a little over a year.
Right.
Like, there's something about here that's like, this is where you're meant to be.
Right.
But it's not for everybody. It's for the people who, like, get the calling to
right.
be here.
Right.
Know?
Were you here when Scully and John and I and everybody were talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
And I said, well, it really comes down to where do you want to go? Do you want to travel to China or do you want to travel to Mexico?
Exactly.
Because you're the motherfucker that's going. So where do you want to go, right? And that's what we were talking about. But what you didn't hear was inside the building, like John just bought 360 acres or so. Scully's on 17, but he's got the option, like he's about to be able to add 100 acres to his property, right? We're trapped here. We are landlocked right here.
Yep.
And we were talking, and I go, Jeff said, he goes, because we were looking at the museum and stuff, and he's like, man, you really need to just stop fucking around and put another building in, right? And I go, yeah, but we're out of room. So the real question is, do we keep fucking around here on 10 acres and moving shit around and redoing everything and making it work? Or do we just say, fuck it, and go find a few hundred acres and start building there? Not get rid of this place.
Yeah.
Not dump this place. We'll still have this. Even if we left, we would still own it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have any intention of shutting down. Like we've always talked about SOE Black Label, U.S. manufacturing. We would still do that. Yeah. But we're talking about setting up other brands where we can use larger sew shops that we don't have to quality. Well, we'll still quality control it. I mean, we will have a guy there, but we'll use a liaison, but not shut this down. We'll just do this for low run, but for volume. Like I had somebody just come to me, an enormous company, like fucking dude runs multi-million dollar companies. He was on the Fortune 500 and he's like, hey, I want 5,000 of these bags. And I'm like, dude, I am so fucking excited that you want these. Like, but I can't fucking build them. And you know what his answer was? Well, you need to scale, bro, or fucking move. And he didn't say that
he wasn't meanly.
Like we are friends.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, it's kind of like, sometimes people get told what to do because they may not want to do it, but it's time to do it.
Well, what he's saying is there's no reason you can't do it. All you have to do is think bigger. You just have to make bigger moves.
And that's what I tell people all the time. But like, I have fucking chills right now saying this. And he's like, if you need money to grow, man, let me know. Because I know him. Like he's 50-50 partners with several of my friends that we speak about that are like enormous business. Like these guys are buying jets and shit. Yeah. And that's the move, right? The answer is always fucking yes, right? And and if you say no, you're never getting the opportunity again. This is one of those times. I feel like it's literally eating at me.
Yeah, I mean, that conversation wasn't very long ago, and it's been on my mind because like this is perfect the way it is, but if all you had to do was say yes, and it would be a lot bigger. There's always
another level. There's always another world, right? 8 years ago, is it 8 years we've been in this property? Maybe
something like that.
7 years ago. 8 years ago, we were sitting in the other building, right? Totally happy. We were adding on to it. We put fucking 2,600 square feet on the back. We were about to build a 2-story next door for the offices. And now when we walk back in there, I'm like, I can't even fathom how we fucking did millions of dollars of business out of this fucking shithole.
Well, driving past it, I mean, people could go and look at it on the old videos. Driving past it, it's small.
When we did the haters video, people are like, what do you, bro, you live in a trailer. I'm like, no, you haven't seen my house.
Yeah, exactly.
You haven't seen my house. My patios are bigger than your neighborhood.
If you blink, it's gone. Like you do not see it there because it's such a little facility.
Yeah.
And like it is surprising that that's where you guys. And if I remember correctly, you were sharing that with Tactical Response at the beginning.
So originally,
trying to